Good morning, fish keepers. Cam here from thefishroom.co.nz. We've done it. We've made Friday. Let's be happy. I'm happy. It's Friday. Friday is a good time. Let's do coffee. It's a pretty good coffee. Yet again, I'm trying a new one, but it's not bad at all. First of all, apologies. John is not here today. He had family commitments over in Scotland. So obviously it's Thursday evening there for them, and it's Friday morning for us. So it's some evening commitments with his family, so he's unable to make it tonight. So today, so that is what it is. You're stuck with me, unfortunately. I've got a wee list of things to talk to. Just writing down another note, so I totally forgot. So yeah, I've got a wee list of things to talk to, but not a heck of a lot. So this one might be a short and sweet one, but we'll see how we go. So first of all, I don't want to alarm anybody, but I'm very excited that I've managed to tick off more things on my to-do list this week than I've actually put onto it. So I'm really happy with that. I started with 11 things to do this week, and I've crossed 8 of them off, so I'm down to 3. I'm happy with that. That is a good time. Hopefully I can get another one of them ticked off today and be down to only a couple to go. So that'd be great if I can only transfer 2 things to do next week from this list, but I'm sure by this time next week that list of 2 will be up to about 10 or 11 again anyway, but I'm happy with that. So I feel like I've achieved some stuff around the place to this week, which is a good time. This week has been a week of spawning out in the back here. So the week before last, we spawned the glow light tetras. There was definitely fry hanging around in there, which is cool. I don't have a count because every time I move the coconut fiber, they sort of just scatter around. So there's definitely some in there. I just haven't got a count on them. Good morning, Thomas. How you doing, buddy? We've also had albino corridoras spawn 2 days ago. Although it looks like, unfortunately, they might have had the fungus on them, so that may not go too far. I've had rosy barbs, cherry barbs, both have small spawns. So I'm trying different methods of hatching them. One method was removing the eggs from the spawning mock and putting them into a tank themselves. The other one was leaving the eggs in the spawning mock. So we'll see how they go. I've had some Zebradanio spawn. This morning I found that the black corridoras had a small clutch of eggs as well. So I'm happy with that. And the Adolphi corys had a spawn yesterday as well. So I think there was about 25 or so Adolphi cory eggs, which is quite exciting. It's the first time I've spawned them. To be fair, all of these fish that I'm talking about are the first time I've done them. Prior to this, all I've really done is African cichlids and bristlenose, give or take. G'day Zen and Brian. No, John is okay. He's at family. He's got family commitments this week. He was at a family event, and I just ran later for him to be able to get here. So, like it's Thursday night there, which would make it 10 o'clock or something like that when we start, or something 11 o'clock or something on those lines. So, his family commitments just ran a bit long, so he was unable to be with us today, unfortunately. So we've had all those spawnings. That's a good time. Yesterday, I knew that it was going to rain today. It's just started raining behind me about maybe 10 minutes ago. So we did a couple of really big water changes on all the cory tanks, loaded them up with mysis, shrimp, and bloodworms 2-3 times yesterday. Fed them up on some cyclops this morning, and they got brine shrimp last night. So there's a couple of females that are looking pretty chunky. Hopefully we get some eggs hanging around. Some eggs hanging around by this afternoon sort of thing, so I'll keep my eyes on that. So yeah, that is also a fun time. And Brian's just brought something up, so I'm going to cross them things out. There we go. Yes, there is some absolutely fantastic news that came out from Maxi this week. Definitely not losing the fur baby, but the celestial pearl Danio. So for those that don't know, CPDs are basically extinct here in New Zealand. They have been basically extinct here for a very, very long time. The powers that be decided that they weren't all to be totally extinct, and through the magic of fish powers, a male and a female, or a couple males, a couple females, managed to get into the hands of Maxi, who sometimes watches the stream. I don't think she's on at the moment. And she and her partner have gone to do a lot of lengths and done some fantastic work, and spawned and produced a lot of celestial pearl danios, and they're about to put them onto the open market. So basically, they've taken these fish from the extinct in New Zealand into what will hopefully be the general public again. So they've got quite a few fish. I don't want to talk out of turn, but I think it's in the hundreds. So hopefully, multiple people get their hands on them, and then multiple will start spawning them. And, within maybe a year, 2 years, they're readily available, like zebra danios and that sort of stuff, because that'll be fantastic, because they're way too cool of a fish not to be here. And it's great that someone has put the work into them to get them going. So congratulations to them. Well done. That's a massive accomplishment, and I'm sure that every single person in the New Zealand hobby says thank you very much for the work that you've done, guys. So that is a good time. Congratulations on your peppered corridors spawn, Rochelle. Quite weird sometimes they put their eggs in really stupid places. Right, need some coffee. Sorry, my chair's really squeaky too. Today we're releasing the podcast that we had Scott Fellman on. It's all about botanicals and blackwater and that sort of stuff. I thoroughly enjoyed it. I personally got a lot of stuff out of it. Scott is very much I'm going to use the word hero, but you know what I mean. Someone I've followed for a long time, taken a lot of inspiration from the work that he's done, the words that he said, and the way that he approaches keeping aquariums and botanical aquariums. So I was absolutely fanboying after we spoke to him. I was 100% riding a high on that, which I quite often do when we have guests. In particular, this one really, really hit for me quite well. So yeah, that podcast has been released today already. It's available on Spotify on the Aquarium Frenzy Spotify account. So get amongst that, chuck that in your ear holes and have a wee listen and get yourself deep into the botanical side of things. Good reminder, Rochelle. Daylight savings starts this weekend. How good! That's a good time. So yeah. You may or may not have noticed that over the course of the last week, we've released a few different shorts, or what have I written down here? Shorts or snippet type videos that we've cut up from the previous Finatics coffee dates when we've had guests on. So I'm quite like that. It's just a quick minute snippet of some of the conversations that we've had with people. I released a couple yesterday with Scott. And I think I've got a couple to release today with Tom and Jeff as well. So if that's something that you guys are interested in me doing, just short little snippets of it, I'm quite happy to continue doing that, releasing them on Instagram Reels and YouTube Reels, and YouTube Shorts, Facebook Shorts, whatever it is, all those short format stuff. So I'm quite happy to continue to do that if that's something you guys are getting a little bit of value out of. Might give you an idea or not whether you want to listen to the full Finatics coffee date on replay or what have you. So that's what I've just been playing around with this week. So they've gone to Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, and TikTok. Don't forget to follow us on TikTok. It's a good time. Showing off a whole lot of different stuff on TikTok and what we do on all the other platforms and stuff like that as well. So if you're liking that sort of shorter format, please let me know and we'll continue with it. If you're not, also let me know and I'll drop it off the radar. And as with anything, if there's any sort of content that you want to see us produce or put forward more of, let us know. I think we've dropped off a little bit on the blog, so we'll get the old the whip cracked on John, get him cranking out a few more blogs for us over the next little while. I think I've set a bit of a tough task for him for next week. I've set him 7 blogs for the week, so we'll see how we go with that. That's because the Aquarium Awards has now closed. We've got our winners, and so every one of the winners is going to have a separate blog released about them and what they do over the course of the next week. So there'll be a bit of content coming out around various companies, various products and stuff like that. So you'll see how we get on with that, see if we can manage the 7 blogs in 7 days for me. So I think that's dropped off a little bit, the blogging. Obviously, we're doing our live videos here, do a bit of general content stuff on Facebook and things like that. So if there's anything you'd like us to do or focus on more or focus on less, more than happy to consider that and work into that and go from there. You might want to see more product reviews, long form stuff on YouTube. No dramas doing that. Might want to see some more behind the scenes stuff or what have you. We'll just go to do that as well. So always open to suggestions. Same with if there's any people that you would like us to speak to, please send us messages, and I'm happy to try and get various people from the aquarium community on to speak as well. So always happy to hear people's suggestions. What's Michelle got? My interesting question, as I learned, which is why my aquariums probably spawned. How does the temperature of your house play a part of the temperature of your tank? So from my understanding, and this is just from anecdotal evidence from what I've played around with, the air temperature is generally 2 degrees warmer than the water temperature of the aquarium if you're running the aquarium without a heater. Generally speaking, that's what I've found from playing around with heating fish rooms as opposed to heating aquariums. So, if the air temperature is 25, the water temperature will be 23, give or take. So that's just what I've kind of noticed in the way that I've played around with aquariums and stuff like that. There's a bit of leeways on that. Obviously, as it gets cooler, water holds water relatively well. That being said, as it gets cooler, the water cools down, the water will cool down as well. I think I just said as the water cools down, the water will cool down. As the air cools down, the water will cool down as well. So there might be a point where, as the air temperature is plummeting, it might be a lot lower than what the water temperature is because that's taking its time catching up. But yeah, from what I've figured, what I've understood, what I've seen, it's normally about 2 degrees difference. The air temperature is 2 degrees warmer than what the water temperature is. I hope that helps somewhat. Both Zen and Helen said that they like product reviews. Helen tends to check them out first before buying anything. I think that's a fair call. I do pretty much the same thing. And Zen gets frustrated when we can't buy them in the States. Yeah, I often do the same thing. I'll check out product reviews before I purchase things, depending on what it is, of course. It's definitely been products I've been really keen on, started reading a few reviews, and it's not the most flashiest thing I've ever seen, so I'm not going to buy it. So I'm quite happy to do video reviews of that. No dramas whatsoever. Also, if you're on our website looking at products, we have reviews on products as well. So people that have purchased it and used it, we ask for reviews. So that gives a really good indication of firsthand from hobbyists like you whether or not the products are good or whether they're bad and all that sort of scenario. As opposed to, say, like, although I try and keep as integral as possible, if I like a product, my intent is obviously to sell the product onwards. If someone's already purchased it and they've liked it, they're giving you their first-hand thoughts on liking it equally if they don't like it as well. So I tend to, if I don't like a product after I've tried it for a little bit, reviewed it for a little bit, I just don't stock it, as opposed to saying that I don't like it or I didn't think it was very good. I just take it off the shelves and that's gone and we don't carry it again. So there's plenty of products that I've played around with a little while and I just didn't like. I didn't think it was very good. Didn't like the nutrition in it with food, didn't like the longevity or whatever reason. And instead of leaving them on the shelves for other people to go through the same thing, I've just taken them off and that was it. So be done with it and just move on to products that I find are high quality and good. But I'm more than happy to write that down and do some more reviews. I'm building a review at the moment for Sarah Insect, which I do really like, so that'll be pretty biased on how good it is. But if there's particular products you would like to be reviewed, please let me know what they are. If you want them reviewed in both visual video form and written form, I'm happy to do that as well. Or John will be writing the review after he's watched the video. But yeah, so more than happy to do whichever way people want to consume it, learn about it, and find out about it. So yeah, any options or what you want, any products, please fire away and I'll write them down as well. Do not break impeller sticks to your filter like you did last Saturday after a disastrous fish keeping day. Not recommended. I try to stand to help my filter to keep running ahead to buy a replacement. Yeah, breaking impellers is not a fun time. I think we've all been there, done that. Depending on how serious you're. Oops, sorry, flicking my pen. Some people also have impellers in the cupboard, just in case things like that happen. They tend to break more often when people do go into maintenance from them, just being a little bit rough. So it's quite handy sometimes to have them on hand. Also, totally understand that some people have got 1,000 filters and 1,000 power heads, and it's just not logical to have that many impellers hanging around when most shops or a lot of shops carry them on stock and can get to you overnight as well, or walk into the shop and get them. So, yeah, breaking impellers does happen. It's not a fun time. So, some of you may have seen these already this week. This is not a new thing. Basically, there are DIY information. This one is for plants. We also have one for snails, and I'm building one out for fish and also for general products, which clearly are not going to die in the process, but just for general products. Basically, it's informing you what to do if you have any issues with the plants, fish, or snails, or whatever that arrive. Always happy to refund your money or replace your product, give you credit or what have you if there is an issue that happens with them. Your satisfaction, your longevity, your enjoyment, and your success is what is the most important to us. So, these are all coming into everyone's orders over the next little while. Prior to these ones, we didn't have anything on the back, but now we've got stuff on the back. So it'd be fantastic if you could like, subscribe, follow, or review. So, yeah, just a bit of DIY information for if anything goes wrong, and then if anyone gets these cards, want to give us a review or follow us or what have you, get amongst that as well. It would be really cool. Speaking of live plants, we had some phenomenal live plants come in this week. We had some absolutely incredible red tiger lotus come through. To say they were some of the most darkest crimson color ones that I've seen for a very long time would be an understatement. They were beautiful. So we got about 30 or so of them in. Most of them are all gone except for the mother plants, where I think I've got 5 left. So they're more pricey ones. Far bigger plant, far bigger root system, far bigger stems, I guess they are, on top of the lily pad. But the smaller ones are gone, and I hope the people that got them absolutely love them because they are phenomenal. So if you are looking for a red tiger lotus, obviously we've only got the extra large, so the mother plants left. They are on an introductory sale. It's got 10% off them, but they are phenomenal. So if you're in the market for a red tiger lotus, don't wait. There's only a few left, and they are phenomenal. So, yeah, unfortunately, if you've got a small tank, red tigers don't work so well. But yeah, they're a beautiful, beautiful plant, and I'm very happy to have got my hands on them and to supply them around. So I believe there'll be 25 or so very, very happy aquarium keepers getting their plants today and whatnot. So yeah, I'm happy with that. Sorry, I just flipped over to another screen. I just had a confirmation of our guest for next week. So we are speaking to Sandy Moore. She runs Seagrist Farms in America. So they do importing, exporting of, and breeding of tropical fish. I believe they are one of the biggest, if not the biggest, fish providers in the world. So I'm really looking forward to talking to them. That'll be a really fun conversation. So if there's anything anybody wants to know on that, please get your questions in early. I think that'll be a great conversation, and it'll be cool to find out their processes of how they get fish in, how they leave them, maybe how they package them, their care, all that kind of stuff. So I'm really looking forward to that one. It'll be really good. So join us next week for that one. So that'll be cool. Have you had luck? They're finding mad lace. Can't seem to find a source here, and I know they had an issue a while back on it. No, we don't get any new plants imported for the best case. I think there's some slightly different variants coming through via tissue culture. I don't know if Madagascar laces are tissue cultured or not. But yeah, new plants don't really come into the country here. So if there's none here, which I believe there is some here, I just don't know where they are. So as far as new ones go, no, but I think there is the odd one tucked around somewhere. But no, there's no available source for them in the country, unfortunately. Whereas John, just because you're late, I will tell everybody again. John had family commitments. As I said before, it's Thursday night for him, and the family commitments that he had ran later than normal, so he wasn't able to get home on time to be here with us. Unfortunately, he'll be here next week. It's just one of those unfortunate things with time zones and family stuff and that kind of thing. So, yeah, unfortunately, people have had to put up with my ugly mug for so far 20 minutes and 35 seconds. But now that you're here, Cam, we can talk all about the Three Idiots Talk Aquarium podcast that's coming out on Sunday. So we recorded it earlier this week. It was all about putting your ponds out and stuff like that for the summertime, which I know we've spoken about a little bit here before as well. So we had a bit of an in-depth conversation for that over about an hour or so. Believe it or not, Cameron and I agreed on a majority of things, which was kind of cool and unusual than normal. But that was quite an enjoyable hour or so that we spent earlier this week doing that. So that's out on a Sunday, and following that, we'll be cutting up. No, Cameron, because sorry. Cam thinks that one's not coming out till next week. That one's coming out this week because we don't have we aren't preloaded with anything, and we still haven't caught up because you have been too sick to do anything, remember? Or maybe because Ryan's been away. I can't remember. So that is our up-to-date one, which is coming out this week. Otherwise, I've uploaded something because I've only uploaded that one. So when you say the world, does that include New Zealand? If so, can you ask what is the general outline of fishes coming into New Zealand? I do not know if we get our fish from them here in the country. My understanding is the majority of our fish come from Singapore, Thailand, Southeast Asia type of scenario, not the States. I might be wrong, might be talking completely out of turn, but that is my understanding. So I don't believe that. I have worked hard and tirelessly to get an importer onto the show with us to talk about it, and they continue to say no, unfortunately. I think that everybody watching in New Zealand would get a lot of value out of having one of the importers come on and give us their knowledge on what their process is, what they look for, all that kind of stuff. But at this point, the ones that I've approached have said no. Next year, I'm going to approach the new owners of Highway Fisheries, as they would have been under control, running it for about 6 months or so. Figured that giving them time to settle into what they were doing before coming on and blasting with a whole bunch of questions would be the best option. So I'm going to try and get them on board sometime next year. I do not know if they're going to say yes. I don't even know if it's something they'd be interested in doing, but I'm going to try. And that leaves us with one saltwater importer, which isn't overly relevant to what we do. But Matt from Eastern Marine said he would think about it, and I haven't really gotten back to him about it from there. So there's an option there. And then that would leave, there's one down in Christchurch that's not operational, so it's probably not a lot of point talking to them. And then there's one more up north, to my knowledge. I'm uncertain if they would be interested in doing that as well. So kind of running out of options to get people on, because we're so limited to the amount of importers that we have. But I can assure you that I am trying as hard as I can to get an importer on to give us their information on what the process is, what they have to go through, and all that kind of stuff. So, yeah. They probably would know, but if they're not allowed to import them because the list says they can't, then the list says they can't. It just is what it is. That's totally out of their control. It's all MPI control. They can't do anything about it. They only can play by the rules that they've been given. So, yeah. And saying that, sometimes there's availability overseas. There might be fish that are allowed on the list and have been on the list for ages, but are not available from the suppliers they work on. There might be contractual obligations. They can only buy their fish from one supplier or what have you, and then another supplier's all the other stuff. So there's lots of businessy things. Again, don't want to talk out of turn. Lots of businessy things that could be the reasons why they can't get certain fish as well. So, I think about getting a media reactor for Purigen, yay or nay. I've never tried using a media reactor. It would have to be quite fine, because Purigen is quite fine. It would have to be quite small for it to work properly and for the Purigen not to leak out. With the Purigen compact too much in the media reactor. There are a lot of other media reactors with bigger media to get lots of water flow through it. It's not compact. So would the Purigen be too small, too compact to make it work properly? And saying that, obviously a bag of Purigen stays quite compact. So yeah, a slower filter would probably work. Run on a slower flow would probably work quite well. Contact time is important for media to get all the best out of it, or to rip all the bad stuff out of things. So a slower filter media, slower flow would work fairly well. That being said, I've never really had an issue with Purigen in any kind of regular flowing filtration unit. It's all worked for the best part of everything. So I don't think there's too much of an issue there. But yeah, a slower flow would probably go okay with it. But yeah, if it was me, I'd just chuck it straight into wherever you're putting into your filter and let it be. As long as the water's passing through it, it's going to be doing its job. So, but that's just me, of course. Yeah. So that is all that I have on my list of things to talk about. I'm quite happy to sit here and talk about fish and products and whatnot with sorry for clicking my pen. With everybody who is still in the chat, that's cool. If not, I will disappear and see if there's been any more spawnings going on of the catfish. Other than watching the Warriors this weekend, does anybody have any major plans? Suppose I should probably go up the Wars, because up the Wars, I'm riding them home as much as I possibly can, because I absolutely love the Warriors. And it's been a roller coaster, that's for sure. So if you haven't yet subscribed to us on YouTube, would absolutely love it if you would do that. Same with on TikTok. Definitely follow us on that. And I can answer Rochelle's question with that. If you follow me on TikTok or follow us on TikTok, you'll see that there has been a little bit of progress on the Clown Loge tank. When I say a little bit of progress, I moved the glass. So there's that. I have found the overflow box that I want. I thought I could find it locally, but I couldn't. So I've got to buy that out of Australia, which is what I'll probably end up doing, or I'll just get frustrated and just drill it and do it ugly, which I don't want to do, but camera keeps telling me to do. So there has been a little bit of progress. We're just reliant on that. Either getting an overflow box or me putting on my big boy pants and just drilling a hole and doing it slightly differently, which I don't want to do. So yeah. The overflow box is about $500 for a 3-compartment canister filter. Is it better to separate the media category into each? Maybe. Yeah. So for me, I like to have you going from the inside of it. I like to have the coarser sponges first, and then depending on which way your water's flowing, have a slightly finer one underneath that as well. Then I like to have my biological filtration in the middle. Again, depending on which way it goes, a thing full of biological filtration, and then any chemical filtration for the last one, followed by another sheet of filter floss. So my theory with that is the bigger, foamier stuff picks up any bigger particles that gets through. The next layer is the finer stuff, so that blocks off any more stuff coming through. Then you're getting all your biological through the middle, and on the way back out, you're getting the polish being done again. So that's the way that I like to separate them out. Some canister filters are all slightly different, of course. Depends on which way you want to work it, but that's the way I do it. I don't often leave the canisters the way they come out of the box. I normally fiddle around with them and have them set up the way that I'd prefer to have them. Cool. Cleaning tanks this weekend. Yeah, I'm sure we all know that pain. And heading to the South Island in 2 weeks. Great. It's fantastic. Can't wait for you to pop in. How popular are goldfish and or koi in New Zealand? I'm not really sure what kind of weather you have. It's a reasonable thing. So goldfish are relatively popular here. It's not a product that or not a fish that we carry. We are solely tropical. Koi, as Brian said, are not legal in New Zealand, which I think is quite disappointing. So I think koi are pretty cool, but koi are not here. There is a few different variants of goldfish. Again, from my understanding, no goldfish can be imported, so we've only got the lines that we currently have. However, I think there was something being adjusted with legislation. Again, I don't want to talk out of turn, but I believe that there is something that is being adjusted with the legislation, which means we could get goldfish from Australia. So there might be some new genetics coming through. I heard that several years ago, and I don't know if anything has changed or happened from that point onwards, but that's where we're at with that. So, yeah. And how's the weather? Yep, depends on what part of the country you're in. The further south you go, the colder it gets. The higher north you go, the warmer it obviously is. If I pull my curtain, I can still see snow over on the hills behind me at the moment, and we've just come into spring. And up in the North Island, it's a little bit more tropical to that. Even the really north is probably considered relatively tropical in general. So weather is pretty up and down depending where you are. Some places get pretty cold frost overnight. Some get no frost whatsoever. So yeah, it's pretty varied climate, but for the best part, it's pretty good for most people here. Yeah, word is it'll be high end. Yeah, I've heard that as well. At this point, see it when I believe it, so to speak. But yeah, I've also heard there will be some high end goldfish imported. I said to someone I know wants fishes for the first time, said they wanted a goldfish, and I said the white cloud minnows and tepid guppies are easier than goldfish. Did I tell the correct information? Yeah. My go-to is always to send people towards the white cloud minnows, particularly the golden ones. I think they're really pretty, but I think they're a really good substitute for goldfish. You get several fish instead of one fish. They stay nice and small. They're bright, they're colourful, they're active. Don't need a heater, all that kind of stuff. So definitely on the white cloud minnow train for sure. I'm not a huge fan of tepid guppies. Guppies can definitely go cold. I think calling them tepid guppies is just a marketing ploy from some shops to sell more guppies, because I don't believe there's anything called a tepid guppy on any of the wholesale lists. They will come in as tropical fish and then they're just put into cooler water aquariums. I might be wrong, but I'm 99% sure that there is no tepid guppies on any of the lists. So that's just a marketing ploy for different stores to sell more guppies. But definitely on the white cloud buzz for sure. That's a fantastic option to get people off goldfish and onto white clouds 100%. So yeah, I'm assuming I put gold minnows and Venezuelan orange. Yeah, gold minnows. Yeah, in the high school tanks. Yeah, they are. White gold minnows are so underrated. It's not funny. They are beautiful fish. We've got the small display in the shop with them, a 4 or 5 or whatever, and everyone just loves them. They're a beautiful fish. They're a great substitute for goldfish. They're a great substitute for other tetras and stuff like that. They're cool little fish. I can imagine, or yeah, there'd be a lot of people enjoying, a lot of high school kids enjoying them. I like their behaviour as well. The males sparring with each other. They're just a really cool fish. Can barbs live with the tank without heater? Funnily enough, we are very much talking about this on the 3 Idiots Talk Aquarium podcast. Again, I think they're better with a heater in the summertime when it's a lot warmer. They can go without. I'm sure you'll find if you paid a lot of attention to your heater in the summertime, if you set it to say 24 degrees as an example, very seldomly would it be going on, or would it only be going on in the evening time when it cools down. Most modern houses are fairly warm, and bulbs are fairly tolerant of temperature swings. That being said, I think they're probably better with some sort of heat source, or at least the heater set relatively low for just in cases, so they don't plummet down to 10 degrees or something like that overnight, but they're still sitting at 18 or that kind of thing, because they are fairly tolerant of temperature. But I think allowing them to swing so much might not be such a great idea, if that makes sense. Tanks at the back here where we've got our barbs in. So where we've got it set up, we'll have 3 tanks. 1, 2, 3. The middle tank has the heater, so that one stays at 25, 26. The 2 beside it, because they're basically touching each other, sit down to about early 20s, late teens. So most of the fish doing that, the barbs and those ones are fine. When I'm putting fish in tanks, I work out the ones that need the temperature: rummy nose, green neons, cardinals, 3 examples. And I make sure they go into the tanks with the heaters so they are staying warm, and then the ones going out slightly more tolerant as well. So definitely achievable without, but I think it'd be better off with a heater, even just set to a lower temperature. Keep gold, sunset minnows, and a wine barrel tubs. They go great in the dark background, handle hard frost, top level ice too. Yep. Yeah, and they look great on black background. That gold, the sunset, the coloration, the reds and the orange just absolutely sparkle and bang off them. So, look, I totally agree. They're a really, really cool fish and so underrated. It's not funny. If you're the sort of person that's into the bigger fish, you might not like them. But if you're into the smaller fish, community fish, they're cool. They're interactive. The way they behave between each other, colorations, they are just stunning. Just absolutely stunning fish. Massive fan. So, yeah. That's all I've got. Like I said before, it'd be fantastic if you could please subscribe to us on YouTube. I set myself a goal at the start of the year to hit 3,000 subscribers on YouTube, and we're about 200 short at the moment. Not too sure if I'm going to be able to get 200 in the next 2 months. That might be a bit of a tall order, but I would love it if I could. So if you haven't yet subscribed to us on the YouTube, please give that a nudge for us. Send it to your friends, get them to follow if they're into aquariums as well. That'd be fantastic. So just little things, little goals I like to try and achieve, and it was definitely one that I set at the start of the year. So fingers crossed we can get across the line with that. And also we are getting pretty close to 1,000 followers on TikTok. So if you haven't jumped on the TikTok bandwagon, that'd be great if you did that as well. So thank you very much for subscribing, Thomas. Much appreciated. African butterfly cichlids. African butterfly cichlids. African butterfly cichlids. I know I've heard of them. Are they known as something else? Google African butterfly cichlid. Cool. I don't know if I've seen them before. They're a pretty neat fish. Everybody jump onto Google and Google African butterfly cichlids, because that's exactly what I'm doing on the other screen. They're a little bit, they look similar to an Akara. That's pretty cool. Yeah, they're a neat fish. Cool. How big do they get? Are they like full on dwarf cichlid type scenario, or do they get a little bit bigger? Yeah, they've got that real Akara kind of gem sparkle and slight line on the dorsal fin sort of look to them. They're a nice looking fish. That's pretty cool. Congratulations on your new fish, 3 inch max. Yeah, nice. Yeah, nice and small as well. Cool. What tank have you put them into? And are you looking for, hoping to get a couple of pairs out of them or something like that, or just happy with them just cruising along doing their own thing? Keep posting links to these lives. Yeah, we'll do that. To be fair, I really do drop the ball as far as marketing, particularly the coffee dates when we have guests on. I really do drop the ball on that, and I should be doing a lot better than that. we should have everything scheduled a week in advance and sharing it across Facebook and all the other platforms to get people knowing that we're doing. So that's on me. So maybe I'll do a wee push over the next couple of months to push that a little bit harder with the last 4 or so guests that we've got. Yeah, we'll give that a wee nudge. I'll write that in my book. Work harder on marketing. Finatics Friday coffee day. Okay. CD. Cool. Oh, bring to big tank. 3 males and a female. Apparently he's a very nice one. Very cool looking fish. I'm really interested to see how they go for you over the next year or so. I forgot that I've got a group of GoldenEye Nanocaras. I moved them the other week. Oh, that's right. I had these. So I forgot all about them. So I put them aside. It looks like there's 2 females and a male in that wee group. So there'll be another wee group of fish that I have to find another tank for to keep them by themselves. As far as dwarf cichlids go, I've got them and Bolivian rams that all need to be separated into their own tanks. Hopefully today I'll be filling out. You might not be able to see it. That side there. No, that side there. Big tank behind me. You would have seen on TikTok it was pretty unbalanced. So balance that up. So we're filling that up today. Warming that up. Moving the frontoses into that from that tank that's in the corner over there. Move that around a little bit. And then there's another tank in the far corner that I'm going to fill up as well and put the clown loaches in. So I'll be separating the clown loaches out from where the dwarf cichlids are and the rainbow fish and stuff like that to hopefully get a few more potential spawnings from some of the dwarf cichlids and the rainbows and stuff like that. So there's a little bit of moving around, but I'm realistically short maybe 10 2-foot tanks and half a dozen 3-foot tanks to really have all the stock that I've got hanging around in their own sort of breeding type setups, unfortunately. So good things take time. It'll be the next wee stage, next wee movement. So yeah, that's where that's at. Well then, feel like I'm rambling now. As much as I enjoy talking about fish with everybody, I feel like I'm now rambling. We're going for 45 minutes, so we might just pull the pin once again. If you haven't subscribed to us on YouTube, please do so. I would really absolutely love it if we can, if I can hit my goal that I set for myself at the start of the year. That'd be fantastic. And if you're not following us on TikTok, jump on that as well. New 3 Idiots podcast comes out this Sunday. Get amongst that. It's a good time. And the new Aquarium Frenzy podcast with Scott Bellman was released today, so enjoy that as well. Hope you all have a really good weekend. Enjoy your water changes if that's what you're doing. Don't forget to stay up till 10 o'clock tomorrow night and watch the Wars or the Warriors. Get amongst it. Definitely beginning to get a wee ball of nerves and nervous energy cranking along for that. So I'll be riding that until the final whistle tomorrow night. So have a good one, team. Happy fish keeping and up the Wars.